If you're a marketing agency, coach, or consultant, and you have clients, then you most likely also have to deal with support inquiries, requests from clients. The best way to do that is through a support ticketing system. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to set that up. Why is it important to have a support ticketing system? One, it's an easy way to keep track of all the support inquiries that come in. So you can track it, manage it, assign it to different team members if you need to do that. But it's just a great way to collect them. You make sure nothing falls through the cracks, and it allows you to provide a better and more scalable service to your clients. Okay, so now the question becomes, how do you set that up? And in this video, you are going to learn how. Let's hop over to my computer and we'll walk through this. All right, so there's a few primary areas that we need to set up. One is the support ticketing form, a place where your clients, customers can submit their information, and then we need to do something with it. Now, you can see here, we've got the support ticket title, description of the request, screen recording, how high of a priority is this, so you can convey to the team which one's most important, any attachments, and then their contact information. All right, so that's the ticket I've got set up. Now I'm using Fulcrum, which is my white label of HighLevel, with our own unique automations and some features, but it's built on the HighLevel platform. Create new form, add a form there, and here I've got my support ticket submission form. Then you go through and add the different fields that you want. Prior to custom objects, there was not a great way to set this up in Fulcrum. What a custom object is, it basically allows you to create a thing. That thing could be anything, and you can give it unique fields, unique attributes. But the other cool thing about custom objects is it allows you to create relationships. In this case, what we're doing is we're going to create the support ticket as a custom object, as its own thing, right? And now, with that as a custom object, we can have relationships between the support ticket, its own unique object, and the contacts. One contact can have many support tickets. Support tickets can be assigned to a contact, and there's that relationship. For instance, like when you look at a support ticket, what contact is it associated with? You can look at the contact and see what support tickets are associated with them. Before custom objects, you really didn't have a great way to set this up on this level or scale. So it really is awesome with the custom objects. All right, hopping back over to my screen, we've got the form. Now, now one thing to keep in mind is if we look at the custom fields, there's a couple things we have going on here. We have the custom fields in the contact, and then we have the object custom fields. Essentially, some of these fields we're going to be duplicating. They're going to be in the custom object, but then they're also going to be on that form for when the contact fills out and completes the form. I'll walk through this so it makes more sense. Here we have the folder, and you can see these are contact level fields. These are the ones that we need associated with the contact. The title, the description, basically these are the ones capturing on the form. Custom objects here. To create a custom object, you would just go create custom object, enter in the name, plural name, display, and so what that looks like. So here we have support ticket or ticket. Tickets is the plural. We're giving the ticket a unique ID, so that's going to be the primary display field is by the ticket ID. Single line. I didn't give it a description, but you totally could. And then here we have associations, and so these are these relationships, right? And so many to many, meaning that many tickets can be assigned to one contact. You could also have one contact assigned to many tickets, etc. All right, so that is the custom object. You've got the companies, which are its own basically custom object, but it's the company object. We've got contact, the opportunity, which is basically its own custom object, and then the ticket, which is what we just created. All right, so if we come here to ticket, Here are all the fields that we want to capture on the custom object itself. So we're going to give it a unique ID. We've created a custom field that's a text ID. It's going to have a title, and you can see these are custom objects because it says custom_objects here. ID, title, description of the tickets, attachments, tickets, screen recordings, priority, location IDs, associate contact IDs, statuses. You got associated contact ID, so you know which contact is assigned to that ticket. You've got the status of the ticket, and then associated contact email, associated contact name. So these are just pulling over so that when you look at the ticket, you can also quickly see, okay, what contact ID is it? What contact email is it? What contact phone number is associated with it? Hopefully that makes sense. Contact side, we're only creating the ones that we want to show on the form. Okay, so now we have the form. Now we have the fields set up. So the next thing we need to do is we want to have a way to track them. All right. Now, easiest way to do this is to set up a pipeline. Usually you're using pipelines for sales, things like that, but it can really be anything that has stages. And so here we're creating a support ticket pipeline. We've got these fields: new ticket, open ticket, resolve ticket, closed ticket. So this would be like closed, didn't resolve, either it was no longer an issue, person no longer need help. And then if you need escalation, so maybe team member one and then their manager handles the escalated tickets and stuff. To create the pipelines in Fulcrum, you just go opportunities, you come up here to pipelines, create new pipelines, give it the pipeline a name, and then enter the different stages. I would like to see or be able to select on the main dashboard how many tickets are in each of the stages. And so you can see there, these were my prior test ones. Okay, so once you have that, you've got the basics, like the structure in terms of what we need. Now we just need to connect it all through the automations. And so here, there are quite a few automations, but I'm gonna walk through each one and why we have each one. New ticket submitted, so they're actually in the order that they occur. But here we have new ticket submitted, so this is when somebody submits the form. And so the trigger, let's see why this is not loading. All right. So new ticket submitted. Again, the trigger is going to be the form we created. Now, I set this up with a ticketing buffer. If somebody submits a ticket, I don't want them to start submitting ticket after ticket. So they can only submit one ticket every 24 hours. Maybe you want that, or you can change it. I've got this ticket buffer workflow. The contact's going to be passed in here, which I'll show you in a second. It waits 24 hours. And so then we just use an if statement. Is that person in this workflow? And if they are, then we're going to do something different. So that's what that ticket buffer is. All right. And so here, are they in the ticket buffer? Yes. So if they're active, which has that 24-hour wait step, they'll go down this path, and if not, they'll go down the normal path. So let's start there, okay? So here, they come down, it's their first ticket to be submitted. They come down here, and we're gonna set the UUID, the unique identifier. And so this is just some code. You know, I've used this tons of time. You could, there's now the math functions. You could do, I think it's math. No, number formatter, random number. Yep. And so you could do a random number that's 16 or 20 digits long, which would also work. This is just the way I've set it up. Before they had the random generator, but essentially it's doing the same thing. It's creating a 16-digit random ID, identifier. Keep in mind, when they've submitted the form, on the contact, those fields have been updated because the form is created with the contact fields, which is why we had to create those fields. We'll transfer the information that's in the contact side from the form over to the custom object, over to the ticket. First, we create the ticket. This is the custom object field that was created, and then this is the contact field. The unique identifier is actually that random 16-digit number we created up here. The ticket, which is the custom object title, is the contact field we created for the contact. Those are all matching up with the contact. We need the contact ID, so we know which contact it's associated with here in a second. I'll show you that. Status, it's a new ticket. And then contact email, contact phone. And here we're also setting the relationship between the contact and the ticket that we just created. Now that we have the ticket ID from the created ticket, we're just taking that, and there's a contact field. I added most recent ticket number, so you can always see the latest one. If they're asking about a question and you're not sure, maybe they have several tickets open, like you can just see what's the most recent number. And so the ticket custom object ID we pulled here, we're just updating this field here. Now we're going to create the opportunity in the support ticket. Again, new ticket. You got their contact information, etc. Opportunity name, I do the person's name and the ticket ID. And there's a field I created, support ticket ID as well. So it's in 2 spots there. Internal notification, here we're just messaging the team that a new support ticket has been created. Then we send the contact, the person who submitted it. Thanks for submitting. Here's your ticket number. Please reference it when you communicate with the support team. We also send them an email with it. And then we send them into the ticket buffer. So they submit a ticket, right? As soon as they submit that second ticket, they come in here. Oh, they're already within the 24-hour buffer. They get a notification, hey, you've already submitted a ticket. Please give us 24 hours to work on your current ticket. All right. And then they also get an email. So the form, new ticket form submitted, we have basically looked, do they already have one? Now, this is a time window. You could also change this to, do they already have an opportunity that's open, right? So do they already have an open ticket? Maybe instead of one every 24 hours, you want just, hey, you can only submit 1 ticket support at a time. In which case you would change this, the 24-hour buffer, you would just say, hey, you would change this to, is there an open opportunity? Okay, so that's that one. New ticket comes in, or the form submitted, we've created the ticket, right? We've got the buffer here. And the next one is ticket update. So this is going to be your team updating the ticket. It then will put the person, as you'll see here in a second, into these others. And I'll show you why. Since we've created the custom object, we want this to be a custom object workflow. The workflow is triggered based off changes in the custom object. So all of these are actually custom object triggers. All right. Probably don't need new ticket, but maybe it gets escalated and then it has to go back to a new ticket. But basically, I just copied the different ones up here. So you've got new ticket, escalated ticket, open ticket, solved ticket, closed ticket, and then which trigger occurred. And then here's the reason that we need the contact ID, the contact email, and phone number, things like that. This is the only kind of tricky, complicated part. The workflows, the automations are triggered off of contacts. And so since we're triggering this and the opportunity is tied to a contact. Now, since we're triggering this through a custom object and we want to change the status in the contact card, we basically need to, the platform doesn't allow you to easily do that. So essentially we need to send a webhook. Now, before inbound webhooks, you used to have to webhook out to like Zapier, Make, or Naden, and then webhook back in. But now it's gotten a lot simpler. For instance, let's say solve ticket, right? We create an inbound webhook. This webhook is what we put in the prior workflow that I'll show you here in a second under ticket solved. So you just do custom webhook, you paste that URL, and now it sends the information. And so over here in the solve ticket, we've got the inbound webhook. You can see here that's the information it captures. We've got the ticket ID and the associated contact ID, right? Because now we need to update it on the contact side. And that's why we have those fields. Now, once we get that, we need to see, is there already a contact created? Now, there should always be, right? Because they filled out the form. So we have name, email, phone number. So there should always be a contact created. But we're capturing it here because you either have to do find contact or create contact. Well, they should already be created, so we're just finding the contact. We're not creating a brand new one. We're going to send them an email. Ticket ID has been marked as resolved because this is the solved ticket. Then we're going to find the opportunity. Here is why I have the support ticket ID as a custom field in the opportunity. So that way, hey, in the support ticket pipeline, find the opportunity that has this support ticket. When we find it, we are then going to move it to ticket solved. And if there is no opportunity, then we're just going to create a new opportunity and moved it to ticket solved. All right. And so basically all of these other workflows are similar to that. They're all based off these webhooks. So close ticket, this webhook URL is coming from right here under close ticket. It is this URL, which you can't change. And once again, we're capturing the information. We've got the ticket ID and the contact ID, which is what we need. We're looking up for the contact found, sending an internal notification to the team. Congratulations on a closed ticket. This is closed, yeah. So closed but not resolved. And then finding the opportunity and updating the opportunity there. Hopefully this made sense. If you have any questions, drop your comments below. If you want to build this out yourself, it's a great way. You can manage support tickets. You can assign tickets to different users, etc. You can put in buffers, whether it's a time buffer, whether it's only allow one open or active ticket at a time. It allows you to do all of that. And so again, we're updating this with the webhooks so that we can update the ticketing phase, the ticketing with the opportunity for that contact. So hope that made sense, but it's a great way to set up a support ticketing system for you and your clients. All right, let's hop back over to, there we go. So that is how you set up a support ticketing system in Fulcrum /HighLevel. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.